Gbpusd. Gbpusd.
Hey, it's your man Charlie P. Today we're going to go over a trade I took on GU, caught about 96 pips on it. I'm also going to go over a missed opportunity that that I missed on EURCAD, which was a really good angel dust setup. And that went for over 100 pips, but like I said, I missed it. But we're going to talk about it anyway. Now, just fair warning, the strategy I used on this GU trade is not a strategy I use very often. So my explanation of the setup is going to suck. It's going to suck. But the EC trade that I missed, I can explain that breakdown real good. But anyway, stay tuned for both strategy breakdown so that you can get an idea of two ways that I look at the market. All right, so I'm using a strategy I don't use too often, but in a nutshell, what I'm waiting on right this second is for a price to come up and grab my 33 SMA, and then I'm going to sell GU. Of course, I'll let it play out and then I'll explain the full breakdown of everything I'm looking for. But the immediate thing that I'm looking for is price to grab this green line so we can sell it. Alrighty, looks like we're about to get that green line grab. There we go. Get that. I got in a little late. Okay, so as far as finding a TP point, let me go to let me go back to my main template that I like to use because this is how I normally look at the chart. So on H4, we clearly have an area of interest here. Let's see how many pips that is. So that's about 67 pips. So definitely you'll keep an eye on that. Let me see if there's anything further. Nothing over there. If I go to the daily, dang, it ain't nothing here either. Let me scroll out a little bit more. Doggone. Okay, there's something. So the next area would be somewhere, I guess around here, down here, since on the daily chart, we've got that. Let me see, just on the top of that. Oh, dang, that's over 200 pips. So I think what I'm going to do is, I'm not going for that many pips. I don't know who I'm trying to fool right now. I am not going for that many pips. Let's try for, I don't know, let's just go for it. Instead of saying target this big old zone down here, a lot of times the bands get targeted. Like it just happens to come down into these dotted bands right here. It's kind of like my overbought, oversold bands, or some hyped up Bollinger bands, basically. Let's go for, I don't know, how many pips is that? It's 104. Let's just go for 100 pips. So that's 104 pips right there. We'll just go for that. Because I do think it can breach this zone, but I don't quite think it'll hit this zone. But so that's kind of a happy medium for me. Good compromise. Good compromise. All right, so we'll let this play out a little bit, and then I'll come back and explain the whole strategy breakdown. All right, y'all. So we're down in that first zone that we drew. I'm trying to combat my my greed, so I'm gonna go ahead and take on this account right here. I'm gonna go ahead and take this money. Take that 12. All right, but I'm gonna leave this running over here though. Crap, I forgot to show that. Well, dang, I don't know what happened to my recorder, but I just took profit on that original one, the one that you saw me take the entry on. As you see over here, that was 29.5, so basically 30,000 on that one. And this one, I'm gonna let this one keep rolling though. So I'm still rolling over here, and so we're at 25 on this one right now. This one I'm just gonna let it do its thing, just to keep something open, keep some excitement in my life for the day. But as you see, we didn't have any drawdown. Like from where we got in, price just tanked. So super good entry. Remember, we took the entry off of the 33 SMA. When I clicked it, it just kind of I guess price went ahead and took off, so I didn't quite get it up here where I was trying to get it, right above that 33 SMA. But even so, we see it was still a great point of entry. I will come back after I let this one do what it does, because I'm just curious to see if it's going to come down to that 100 and whatever. Actually, I did decrease this lot size as not to be too, again, trying to combat my greed. I know I had it at 100 and something pips. I just took it down just a notch and put it right inside the bands instead of, it was a little bit further down in the bands, but so yeah, we'll see if this one hits that 96 pips, which would be about 38,000. Yeah, we'll come back and just keep checking on it. But we are risk free on this one, so that's what's up. Well, dang, it's moving pretty good. So we got, see, there's my TP down there on this one. So we still need 20 pips, just 20 pips away. Dang, I wish I had left the other one going. See, this is why I have the issue with greed, because I get out and then the market keeps going. But then when I take profit, I'm sorry, when I try to hold stuff a lot of times, then it goes against me and I'm just like, I should have took it. So, but hey, you can't go broke taking profit, you know? But anyway, let's break this trade down right quick, man. So what I saw in general is, and I've showed this strategy before on a different video. I don't remember which one it was, and I had to go back and look. But basically the main thing I saw was 3 hits to the 50 EMA on H1. Even though this didn't necessarily touch it, it was still like a 1, 2, 3. On the 3rd hit, this reversal pattern right here, anytime you get two hammer candles and they're pretty much equal in size, and they're right next, like the bodies of them are right next to each other, and it's, you know, green, red. Well, I say green, red, but bullish, bearish like that. I just know that this is a really powerful reversal pattern, and it happened on the 3rd hit, and we had divergence right here. Boom. And boom. So we had that divergence there as well. Even though this wasn't oversold, I didn't need it to be in this situation, but everything just looked good. And the other thing was we were at this zone here. So we had this zone created here, and of course we revisited it with that wick right here. I also went to the 15-minute chart. We were oversold here, at least at this point. With all those things combined, when that happened, I waited on price on H1 to kind of give me a signal that it was heading down, and it did that. After this candle right here, I was pretty confident. I'm like, all right, it's definitely coming down. And so that's when I went to the 15-minute chart, went to my reassurance template, and waited on it to come up and grab my 33 SMA. On my other strategies, and I know I suck at explaining this strategy, is because I don't use it that often. Like, I don't think I've used this strategy actually since the last time when I made the video on it, which has been probably 2 or 3 months, maybe even 4. I don't know. It's been a minute. Most of the time I wait on it to come and hit my 50 EMA. We see that would have worked out just fine on this trade. But on this specific setup, I found that if I go to my reassurance chart and wait on it to hit the 33 SMA, when it grabbed that, it took off. So that was a more accurate point of entry for me. So again, let me just run through that real quick again. So it starts off on the main template. Price was kind of coming up on that 50 EMA. And some people might look at this and be like, oh, it looks kind of angel dust. This is not angel dust. Actually, I called this strategy super angel dust, ironically enough, because it's similar, but it's not. It's like, this is more so on the 50 EMA than the 10 EMA. So they're like super angel dust, but still kind of working out the rules on it. But essentially, again, it was hugging around this 50. We had 1, 2, 3 hits, and on that 3rd hit, we got a super prominent reversal pattern with those 2 hammer candles. It gave us a signal that it was going down. On the same token, we had on the 15-minute chart, it was up on this purple, and it was overbought at some point on this purple line. I went down to the reassurance chart and waited on it to come up and grab my 33 SMA, took the trade, here we are in really good profit, about to hit TP. Looking good. Dang, so that's 96 pips in what? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, an hour and 15 minutes almost. So if we hit TP on this one, we ain't been in this trade but an hour and 15 minutes. That's the best kind of day you can ask for right there. I guess. Yes, sir. There we go. Gon' give me them monies. Gon' give me that money. Hey, there we go. I like it. I'm also in this trade on HankoTrade. I actually started a flip that I'm trying to work on, a $50 to $1,000 account flip. So I want to see if I can make that happen and how quickly I can make that happen. So that's kind of a series I'm starting. This is just to promote HankoTrade's high leverage and the ability to flip an account quickly using that high leverage, 500 to 1 leverage. Again, if you need customer service from them, they're super quick on their answers. Great platform responsiveness. When I click on that button, the trade goes in right then and there. And you only need $10 to deposit with HankoTrade. So you don't need $1,000, $2,000 minimum or anything like that to deposit with HankoTrade. But yeah, super great broker. Y'all know I love my prop firms. FTMO and all them guys, I love them, but I will always, always, always keep a personal account. And for your personal account needs, use HankoTrade. I've got a link in the description. If y'all appreciate what I'm doing for you, please consider just using my link to sign up with HankoTrade. Yes, I do get a little kickback from that, and it just helps me stay motivated to post these videos, because a lot of times I'm just like, I just want to take the trade and be on my own. But you know, I'll keep posting these videos as long as you guys support your boy, man. So with all that said, we've got about a 200% gain today. So I'm going to go ahead and take this $107. And now we went from 50 bucks to 160 bucks in a matter of what, an hour and a half or something like that. So again, shout out to HankoTrade. And with that, I'm gonna holler at y'all on the next one. I'm gonna give y'all a bonus. This was something I missed on EURCAD during the London session last night. And it was a really beautiful angel dust trade. And it also is going to allow me to address something else, which is, why wasn't this a valid killer crossover setup? I don't know if if you've been following my channel at all, you know I like to take a setup called killer crossover. And this technically, it looks like it confirmed the killer crossover setup, but I'm gonna tell you why you would have wanted to have avoided that one. But anyway, let's get into it real quick. So let me just jump into the angel dust setup, and we'll break down the angel dust trade first. So you can see how you could have caught another 100 and something pips on this move. Yeah, 120 something pips on this move. So let's just break it down super quick. First rule of angel dust: always trade in the direction of what side of the 144 EMA that you're on. And that's my purple line. So if we go back to the chart, we're on top of the purple line on H1. So we're only looking to buy this. Rule number 2, the H1 candles must be riding the 10 EMA while the Euler-Fisher is on the opposite side of the 50 level. So as you see, H1 is riding along the 10 EMA. That was a weak burp. H1 is riding along the 10 EMA, but at the same time, the Euler-Fisher down here is below the 50 level. Now, it did raise up above the 50, but it came down below it just a little bit one more time right here. So we're still valid on that rule. The third rule, and I'll come back to this right here. Well, I explained that enough on another video. I'm not going to go into it right now because I'm trying to do it super quick. This is the heart of angel dust, PCP. Peak center pass. This is why we call this strategy angel dust, because we got that PCP. But anyway, going back to the chart, let's find PCP, which is peak center pass. And again, all you're doing with peak center pass is essentially finding a W shape within the market. So this right here, this area would be where you would start drawing your W. So this is the peak. It comes down, it comes into a good center point right here during the Asian session. So I'm going to draw a line on my center point right at the top of this candle body. Okay, not the wick, but the body is where I mark my center point. It comes down again, and now it has a pass candle. The pass candle needs to close past the center point. So we see that this candle right here in London session closed past the line that we drew to mark our center point. So we've got peak, center, and pass. Now the other thing is, for that pass candle, we go back to the rules, we see that pass candle has to happen at a certain time of day. The pass candle must be the candle that forms at, and we've got 3 different ranges of time for Asian session, New York session, and London session. I probably just said that way out of order, but for this particular one, we were in London session, so we're going to focus on this first range of time. It had to happen between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. Eastern time, or 9 or 10 o'clock chart time. Let's go off the chart time since most people can follow that. Let's see what time this candle happened. So this candle, the pass candle, happened at, if we look down there at the bottom, 10 o'clock chart time, which, as we see, does fall within the range of an acceptable time for that candle to occur. Now, keep in mind, all brokers don't follow the same chart time. However, 90+% of them do. I've actually only seen one broker that doesn't meet this chart time, and that was Liquid Every other broker I've ever used or tried out, whether it be demo or live, has met this same chart time or followed the same chart time. So you should be good for the most part, no matter what broker you use. If you're not using Liquid. So all the rules are met. So at this point, all we have to do is figure out, when do we enter the trade? Well, since all our rules are met, now we just go to the M15 time frame and enter the trade after price comes back to grab the 50 EMA. So let's do that. Switch over to the 15-minute time frame. So when H1 closed on that pass candle, we were on this green 15-minute candle right here. So we needed to wait on price to come back down, grab our 50 EMA, which is what it did right here. So I'm going to adjust this line to say this is where we would have entered. So we would have entered right here when it went below that 50 EMA, and you see what happened. It was a gorgeous freaking trade, and I'm extra mad I didn't wake up for London session to trade that. But I just wanted to throw that trade out here. Now let me address real quick why this wasn't a valid killer crossover setup. Now for my killer crossover setup, I'm not even going to go into all the rules. Just if you notice the setup, cool. We see that it breached this area right here to the downside on this red candle. The reason I would have avoided this is because for killer crossovers, normally they're very symmetrical. So since we had this big old peak right here and then this up here, I would have looked for more of a head and shoulders, even though it did kind of do this right here. This little hump right here, I think it would have went up just a little bit more sharp to match and be more symmetrical with this side. That's one thing. The other thing is that it's going on 3 days for this to shape up. This, like this session to this session, that's essentially 1 day. Then we've got 2 days that have already passed. So we're in the 3rd day of setup for this this thing. And I really like to keep my killer crossovers between 1 and 2 days to set up. So being that it's taking so long, I kind of just would have said, I'm gonna leave that alone. And then the other thing is that this center point, I would have liked it to be more towards the center of the formation overall. And so if the center point had been about right in this area where the center of this was, then I probably would have took that trade. But since it was kind of over this way, that was just another thing. With those 3 things I just mentioned, all put together, I kind of was like, I'm gonna avoid this trade. Had I taken it, technically I would have been justified. I would have took the L, but I would have been justified to take it. But then, Angel Dust was also right there too, and I probably would have peeped that as well and went for that instead. So that was just a little bonus something to throw out there, just to give a little bit more training or brushing up on a strategy for anybody who cares. And I will holler at y'all on the next one.